Originally designed by Charles Moneypenny, same architect who created Daytona International Speedway, Michigan International is best known for awesome speeds and competitive racing spawned by its broad racing surface and 73-foot wide, 18-degree banked turns. Michigan's width and steep banking ensure there's always more than one racing groove, and the fact that MIS is not a super speedway means that drivers have more than enough power to make a challenge out of the turns at both ends of the speedway. Once upon a time, Indy cars frolicked on those high banks at breathtaking speeds. Witness to Paul Tracy's record qualifying lap of 234.9 miles per hour. Today, Michigan regularly vies with Daytona, Talladega, and Texas as NASCAR's fastest speedway, with Jeff Gordon holding the NASCAR Cup Series track record, 206.558 miles per hour. Richard Petty, David Pearson, Bobby and Davey Allison, Dale Sr. and Jr., Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, they've all added their names to the roll call of MIS winners, one that also includes names like Andretti, Foyt, Unser, Mears, and Zanardi from the days when Indy cars raced in the Irish Hills. Allison to Yarborough, Andretti to Zanardi, the world's greatest racing drivers have been coming to Michigan to test their mettle for more than 40 years, and the fans have followed by the hundreds of thousands. Tonight, it's the Esports Gaming Network Michigan 75, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Michigan Speedway. Let's take a look at the race details for tonight. 75 laps the race distance this evening, 71-degree ambient temperature, 61% humidity under partly cloudy skies, a 3-mile-per-hour breeze, and a 106-degree track temperature. Drivers have an 80% fuel load to work with this evening, with one extra change set of tires available over the wall. Drivers are going to have to take care of that initial set of tires to make it all the way to the end in this one. With that said, one fast repair available for the drivers in case something unplanned happens, and two potential green-white checkered finishes if the need arises. Practice just wrapping up here at the Speedway, a couple of minutes left. Checking on the stream chat again. Let's see, we got Josh in the chat, says probably the only broadcaster that doesn't judge how his cars get raced on the stream. I think maybe you're talking about the HBR TV cars. I judge everybody equally. Let's see, Josh says Steve is goated. Matt Sisler says Steve does a great job on all his broadcasts. Azarius90 says, let's go Tucker. Yes, no place I would rather be than right here watching. Well, I appreciate you guys for chiming in and all the kind words. Checks in the mail. Appreciate it. And for some reason, my overlay, my timing tower is all kinds of wonky. It's got JJ Yaley at the top of the board, but he's clearly not in this session. We're trying to get that squared away, trying to refresh here. Don't really want to try this if it's not going to cooperate. That could be difficult. We'll get it done one way or another. You just might not have an accurate timing tower because it's all wonky right now. We'll try to close out of it here quick. We got Tiller 1227. This should be a blast. The track is fast. We've got Dan Parent says he's here to watch Dana Shepard. Let's go. Man, I get excited when you guys jump and start this stream chat stuff early on. It's a plus. There we go. Times look a little better here. Millet fastest with a 38.33 just as practice is about to strike zero. Black and red flags on the session. We'll jump right into qualifying here in just a moment. Now let's see who takes to the Speedway first. Strong field tonight. And it looks like Joe Tucker is going to be the first driver to roll onto the Speedway. The number 13 hits the racetrack. The Chastity Tucker Realtor Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Matt Crockett watching himself. No fan club. Aw. I'll cheer you on, Matt. Josh asking, are you carrying the NTRL Next Gens? We are not. I believe that's a AAA broadcast. We only cover the trucks for Numb Thumbs, the occasional one-off race, and currently covering the late model stocks on Wednesday nights. Tucker takes the green flag on lap number 1 of his qualifying attempt. Cody Anderson in the stream chat. Hi, Steve. Hi, Cody. Busy tonight. This is great. Joe Tucker across the stripe at 39.268 was top of the board for just a brief moment as the 79 of Jarrett Woodard goes P1. That doesn't last long either as Michael Tucker goes to the point at 39.054 on lap 1. Tucker with some new colors this week. I don't know if Mom's going to be happy about this one without the Chastity Tucker Realtor logos on board. He's got the Ghost energy drinks instead. Chris Goins cracks 38 seconds at 38.84, puts him top of the board. So does Jesse Redding. So does John Tiller. Mike Tucker crosses the stripe, improves his time at 38.859. Third quick. Goins about ready to wrap up lap 2. Does he improve? He does. Goes P1 again, 38.639. John Tiller jumps up to the second position. Drew Prail goes P1 on his second lap, 38.63. Zach Millett, fastest in practice, a 39.17 on his first lap, puts him 10th quick. And it says Josh, it's Caleb. Caleb Sisk in the stream chat says he'd come race him next gens, assuming you were carrying the broadcast. It's kind of up in the air, Caleb. There's some discussions to be had, but nothing set in stone. Be lucky if it's set in crayon. But more to follow. Put it that way. Azarius90 says, yeah, Mike says he put the wrong paint on. Well, somebody tell him he's grounded. Zach Millett across the stripe finishes lap 2 of his qualifying attempt, and he goes to the top. 38.521 seconds for Zach Millett. Matt Crockett finishing up his second lap. Let's see where the 15 lands. 14th, lap 1 invalidated, 38.86, which we thought would have been a pretty good lap, but he's 14th quick at this stage. Drew Blaze just back to start finish. Looks like he's got new colors on the Charger this week. Drew Blaze driving a number 6, interestingly enough. Should be a 1. 38.641 Blaze starting in the 5th position. Nathan Line, the number 38 admin box machine. Well, I've refreshed Trade and Paints about 3 times this evening. It can't hurt, I guess, to do it yet again. So we'll do it yet again. Maybe Drew Blaze just has the wrong paint when he came in. Maybe it's fixed. I don't know. We're going to give it a shot just to be on the safe side, but it should be the number 1 instead of the 6. Nathan Line wraps up 17th quick, 38.870 for the 38 machine. PJ Cox in the 05, a 39.27 at lap 1. Good enough for P20. Certainly not what he's looking for. Chastity Tucker in the chat. I don't know if she knows yet, but Mike Tucker doesn't have your paint on his car this week. Got to scold that boy. $38,692 for PJ. Big pickup. $38,692 puts PJ in the 7th spot. Handful of drivers haven't taken a time yet. It's Dustin Rogerson, Scott Beardmore, Josh Kelleher, Shane Miller, Sean Roberts, and Mike Fahey. With that, we're going to jump out and get a break out of the way. Be back with our starting grid for tonight's race after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody
Back at Michigan Speedway, let's take a look at our starting grid for the Esports Gaming Network. Michigan 75 on the pole position with a lap time of 38.521 seconds. It's Zach Miller. Outside front row, it's the 42 from Fueled Up Motorsports. Johnny DePasquale missed it by 57 thousandths of a second. Row number 2, it's Drew Prale and Chris Goins. Row 3, Drew Blaze and Alfie Charon Jr. Row number 4, it's PJ Cox and John Tiller. Starting in the 5th row, Brian Rose and Dana Shepard. Starting 11th, it'll be the 18 of Chris Klein from Num Thumbs Racing. 12th is going to be Ken Couch. 13th starter, the 79 out of Canada, it's Jarrett Woodard. Jesse Redding, the number 21, will start in the 14th position. Joe David in the 6th will start 15th. 16th starter, it's Michael Tucker in the number 39. Matt Crockett will start 17th. Nathan Line, 18th. 19th starter goes to Darren Jones in the number 3 machine. Joseph Tucker in the 13. He'll start 20th. 21st starter, it's the 32 of Nick Biddy back in action here tonight. Sean Roberts will start 22nd, the number 66. Josh Kelleher, the number 37 from DEP Racing, will start 23rd. 24th goes to Scott Beardmore. Dustin Rogerson for the 25th starter. Shane Miller, 26th. And last but not least, certainly in our hearts, the 19 of Michael Fahey will start shotgun on the field in 27. It's your starting grid from Michigan Speedway. Field going to roll off a pit lane here momentarily. Again, Millett having to start from pit lane for the duration of the season. Sits parked in his pit box, has to wait for the field to complete their formation or pace lap. Once the green flag drops, he can roll out of that pit stall and chase down the rest of the field, but he's got a tall order ahead of him this evening. It's Johnny DePasquale in the 42. He'll effectively be the number 1 driver as we go to the green flag, but Drew Prale's, I believe, going to have the advantage from 3rd effectively to the 1st position, the inside lane, as the field barrels down into turn 1 once we get underway. Alfie Charon Jr. in the number 9. New paint scheme this week. '27-car field tonight. We're just about halfway through this season, so to still have numbers like that, very impressive, great to see. It's been a continuing trend here with Lonestar Racing. Always great fields throughout the course of the season. And there it is, pace car about to hit pit road. You see it pull down there into pit lane, waiting for Barney to wave the green as the field comes to the stripe.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag is in the air. We're racing from Michigan. Straightaway, got a car length over Drew Blaze and Johnny DePasquale. DePasquale slipped just a bit back to the 3rd position as Drew Blaze closed in quickly. Top 2 off of turn 4. It's the Drew and Drew show. Drew Prale and Drew Blaze at the stripe. Prale's going to lead lap number 1, but will he lead lap 2? Blaze had a big run out of turn 4, all over the back bumper. Down into turn number 1. Blaze checks up a bit early on the entry to turns 1 and 2. That's going to give him the run out of turn 2 down the backstretch. He opens the door, gets to the inside. Prale thought he was going to get a piece of the wall, might have checked up just a bit, but Drew Blaze to the inside. Drag race down into turn number 3. Blaze looking for the top spot here. lost a couple of positions quickly there. Went from the race lead back to about 5th or 6th. Meanwhile, Drew Blaze out in front. Chris Goins is now tucked into the 2nd position behind the one of Blaze. And if we look closely here, we did update the paints in Trading Paints for the 4th time this evening, and lo and behold, we have the correct paint on Drew Blaze. So glad we got that squared away. Chris Goins looking awful racy at the back bumper of Drew Blaze into turn number 1. Blaze drives it in deep. Now here comes the 44. Dana Shepard looking to the high side of Chris Goins out of turn number 2. Dana Shepard on a rail at the top end of the racetrack. Drew Blaze pins it down to the yellow line in the middle of 3 and 4. Drifts up the racetrack. For Drew Blaze into turn 1. Don't know if that was precipitated by some contact. Around the outside, though, Dana Shepard gets around Drew Blaze, takes over the top spot. New leader, our 3rd different leader in the first 5 laps of this race. Dana Shepard with the Fat Chicks Chevrolet at the front of the field crosses the stripe as the race leader. Chris Goins running into 2nd position. Drew Blaze 3rd. Jesse Redding, Johnny DePasquale rounding out your top 5. On board with Dana Shepard. Goins making a look to the inside. Shepard's going to carry some momentum on that top side. It seems to be the way to defend these next-gen Cup cars. Very effective. You can keep up the momentum, keep up the speed. You can really, really frustrate the trailing driver. Field back to start finish. Shepard still content with being up front. He started 10th. He made his way through this field awfully fast. Jesse Redding also cutting his way through the pack from 14th to 4th. Nathan Line up 10 spots as well. He runs 8th. Drew Prowell slipped back to the 10th spot. Remember, he started this race effectively from the pole position, though he was not credited with it. That was where he took off from. Led a couple of laps and then yielded it to Drew Blaze, and Drew Blaze lost it to Dana Shepard, who continues to lead here at lap 9. Checking on Zach Millett. He's worked his way up already from the pits to 18th. Mike Fahey is in the session but did not take the green flag, so he'll be categorized, though he is not in the race. Looks like Sean Roberts made 5 laps. He's out of this one as well. I don't know if he had a connection problem or what the case may be, but so far, 2 retirees. First 10 laps here at Michigan Speedway. Top 6 drivers all nicely, tightly together here at start-finish. The only one that's starting to build a gap is the 44 of Dana Shepard. You just got to wonder, Michigan Speedway, not really the kind of place you think tire strategy and tire savings, and you got to be easy on the right front, but don't let it deceive you. It can definitely trick you into a false sense of security. I just worry that that's what's going on here with the 44 of Dana Shepard. He's got pace. He's definitely fast out there. His last lap was a 38.91. Chris Goins was a 38.93. Jesse Redding a 96. Same for Johnny DePasquale. Fast driver on the track that last lap, though, was John Tiller at 38.85. Sean Roberts filling us in the stream chat, says tonight was a start and park. I guess he's got a concussion injury. So, yeah, when you're dealing with any kind of head injury, putting your face in front of a big screen in high-pressure situations, not the best as far as your symptoms are concerned with a concussion, though some head doctors would say, yeah, that's the best thing for it. Go ahead and stress your brain out more. It helps rebuild it. I guess that's what they did for Dale Jr., but it's not very fun. There it is. You see the top 6 all kind of lined up like ducks. Pretty cool, calm, and collected here at the front of the field. It looks like Nathan Line might have got a piece of the wall off turn number 2. Line the number 38 admin box machine. Just ran out of exit space. On to turn number 2, put it in the fence. Now he's got Nick Biddy all over the back bumper. A little bit of contact, more contact off turn number 2, and there's trouble. Biddy is in the wall. Nathan Line is in the wall. Happened while we watched it. Joe David gets a small piece of this as well. He's got damage to the front end. Nick Biddy's going to drive away from the scene. Nathan Line's going to drive away, but nevertheless, first caution of the night. 3-car incident. Looks like maybe off of turn 2, but somewhat down the back straightaway as well. We got Allison Rossman effectively accusing Zach Millett of cheating. I've known him personally for a couple of years. I assure you, if he was cheating, my I rating would be going up too, and it's just not happening. Matt Sisler, honestly, I try to stay lined up like that as long as possible at the end. Yes, 100%, and you saw why you'd want to stay lined up. The incident that we're going to take a look at here in just a moment. Out of turn number 2. He's got a Game Shark. That's hilarious. Or Game Shark, or was it Game Genie? I think it was Game Genie. I'm dating myself now. All right, so you see these cars here at the middle of your screen. Alfie Chair in the 9, the black car at the top line, and then you got Nathan Line, and it looks like Nick Biddy. And another car on the bottom. I'm not sure who that is specifically, but we'll slow it down here. I think it's Zach Millett on the bottom. Try to get a look what happened here. Off of turn number 2. Biddy slides up a little. Let's zoom in. And it upsets the 38 of Nathan Line. He tries to correct, but then he gets to the right rear of Nick Biddy. Both cars in the fence. The 6, nowhere to go. He drives through it. Allison Rossman in the chat again. He's just too darn good. Share your secrets, Millett. One hell of a driver. Well, that he is. But in all reality, his only secret is he's been doing this on iRacing for 10 years plus. When you've got that much track time, that much seat time in multiple vehicles, multiple tire models over the years, you just get better at it. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but there are definitely guys out there that can beat him. I've seen it happen personally. So first caution, 16 laps in here. This one's about 75 laps, so 150 miles the race distance. Sprinkle in some cautions. It's going to throw some strategy into the mix here. Our top 5 as we prepare for a restart. Still Dana Shepard, Johnny DePasquale now in second, Chris Goins third, John Tiller fourth. Brian Rose now up into the 5th position. Moving further down through the field, Jesse Redding in 6th, Zach Millett up to 7th. Millett, of course, able to pick up 3 or 4 spots just during that caution because they were all to the outside of the 315. Chris Klein runs 8th. Alfie Charon 9th. Matt Crockett 10th. Caleb Sisk says he's hard to beat. He doesn't make mistakes. It's pretty rare. I mean, it does happen. It took 18 months of broadcasting for me to see him make a mistake on pit road and pick up a penalty. That was, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago at this point, but it helps to be fast. It helps to be lucky, but yes, being mistake-free, that is the biggest part of racing. Don't beat yourself. You hear it so often when you watch races on Sundays or Fridays or Saturdays or whenever they are, but you've heard it before, I promise you. Don't beat yourself. Matt Sisler talking about racing against Millett. Josh/Caleb, he's got plenty of races under his belt against Millett as well, and he's certainly looking for more. That's what I like about Caleb. He wants that competition. Pace car about to hit pit road here as we get set for a restart. Shepard's going to lead him to the green flag here. DePasquale to his right elbow.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag, back in the air. Oh, Brian Rose slips up the track a bit, almost gets into the left door of Zach Millett. Those two are teammates, can't have that happen. Millett inches out ahead of Brian Rose into turn number 3. Man, I love Michigan. This place is great. We got a car in the wall, though. I think it might be Jarrett Woodard. Indeed it is. Right side scrape in the safer barrier, but he continues on. We stay under the green flag. Meanwhile, change for the race lead here. Chris Goins going for it underneath the 44 of Shepard. Shepard battling back on the high side, wants to keep that top spot. And there he is, Zach Millett, already charging hard into that top 3, looking for a way around. He wants to take 2 for 1. Wow, Shepard drives it really deep into turns 1 and 2. Puts a gap on Millett and Goins both, but Millett takes the spot from Goins as Chris gets real loose off turn number 2, saves the car. That's going to open the door for Johnny DePasquale as well. The 42 is going to go around. Brian Rose now alongside Chris Goins. Shepard still out front, but look who's hunting him down. On board with Zach Millett in the second spot. He started from pit lane. That's going to be his place to start every race throughout the balance of this season. That is his maximum win penalty in the Lonestar Racing Cup Series. I love that they do that. the inside of Shepard. Shepard's going to battle back on the outside line, try to build some momentum, but Millett got his foot down. He's still under power down the back straightaway. Shepard with the run out of the corner. Great battle for the race lead here at Michigan Speedway. Zach Millett, Dana Shepard. Millett drops it all the way down to the apron of the racetrack. He's going to lead this lap, but Shepard not giving up. Hanging tough on the outside, but here comes the rest of the field. Drew Blaze almost into the 42. Manages to stay off the door, but by just inches. Matt Sisler in the stream chat says, I've never seen Millett knock somebody out of the way. I have. It doesn't happen very often, but I have seen it. Out of turn 4, Zach Millett finally clears Shepard, takes the top spot. Now Shepard's got to worry about Drew Blaze, but Dana's doing a great job here, battling with these guys here at the front of the field. Tenths on the field at this point, but with the draft, I don't know if he's going to be able to check out. He's definitely got the pace. He's going to be hard to guard. We're only 24 laps into the 75-lap event. Dana Shepard, Johnny DePasquale, Drew Blaze, Drew Prell. And Mike Tucker's rolling his way through. He's up into the 6th spot. These guys are all going to be good contenders, challengers for that top spot for the rest of this race with about 51-plus laps to go. Matt Sisler making the comment in the chat says that caution is exactly what the leaders did not want to see. Millett was stuck in the pack about a second and a half off the lead, and now they're all bunched up. And well, you see the end result. 3-1-5 quickly through those remaining positions up to the top spot. But I'll tell you, Dana Shepard, he still wants that lead back. He is not giving up. Right to the back bumper of the 3-1-5. Here comes Drew Prell. Remember, Prell was up front at the start of this race, dropped back a bit. Now he's on the charge again, showing that he's got the ability to lose some positions and then come take them back. Great pace out of the 80 here this afternoon. Michael Tucker back in the mix as well in the top 5. Blaze and Prell exchanging the 3rd position, back and forth. That's a battle. Drew Prell, new colors this week as well. The purple, white, a little bit of black. Oh, Prell gets pushed up the racetrack. Everybody scatters, but we stay green. I don't know if Shepard didn't realize that Prell was to his outside, but they came very close. If they didn't make contact, I don't know how. Prell loses a few spots, relegated back to P6, while Drew Blaze jumps up to the 2nd spot. Now John Tiller runs 3rd, Dana Shepard and Drew Prell 4th and 5th. Prell and Alfie Sharon battling it out. Sharon to the inside of Michael Tucker now. We're not even halfway and I'm almost out of breath. Alfie Sharon loses a couple of spots, back down to the 8th position. He was alongside Michael Tucker a moment ago, but Tucker with a big run out of turn 2. Prell gets a little bit loose on exit. Now Tucker to the outside. Glad I refreshed paints because now Michael's not grounded. He's got Chastity Tucker Realtor back on that number 39 machine. Ginger Parrott says, Shepard runs consistent laps like no other. Little known secret, he will drive for food. I mean, won't we all? I'll drive for beer. Not in that order. Well, in that order. Not in opposite order. So, Michael Tucker out of trouble here. He's up 12 spots. 11 if you count the 5th that he just lost the spot to Dana Shepard, but now he battles back, drives it way deep down to turns 3 and 4. Can he keep it on the bottom? He keeps it on the bottom a little bit, slides up the racetrack. He might have to lift a little. The nose starts to get a little bit light on exit there. And just like that, we got a change for the race lead. Drew Blaze takes it away from Zach Millett. We missed it while we were watching some of these other fights. Let's see what we can find here. I can find the pass for the lead in the replay. There it is. So this is the pass for the lead just a moment ago, down into turn 3. Drew Blaze just gets the run out of 2, gets alongside Zach Millett. Millett drifts up the track just a bit. Doesn't contend it. Comfortable just riding in the tire tracks at Drew Blaze. Now, this could be a couple of different things. It could be Millett trying to save a little bit of fuel, which the fuel window is 35 to 40 laps on a full tank, so he's trying to plan that, I'm sure. But the other aspect of it, Drew Blaze is very crafty when it comes to strategies. So if you're second guessing yourself, the best thing to do when you know you're of somewhat equal, maybe better pace, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but if you got a guy that's competitive with you and can make a pass, sometimes you got to think about it. Maybe I'm just going to see what Drew does here in his first round of pit stops, at least under green. I know they took the time to make a pit stop under this last caution. Blaze's pit was 10.08 seconds. I don't know for certain if he took tires or not. Zach Millett was only 6.8 seconds. I can't imagine that Drew took tires. It's only the one set they have over the wall. But I wouldn't rule it out. With him, anything is possible. He's not afraid to try something different. And we've seen it here in HBR TV numerous times where Drew has pulled some sort of funny strategy out of his back pocket and then crosses the start-finish line first and takes the checkered flag. That's what makes Drew Blaze dangerous, is he's got pace at these places, but he's also pretty smart when it comes to strategies. Allison Rose says he knew better. He figured it out. The top 3, it's Drew Blaze, Zach Millett, John Tiller. Michael Tucker in the 4th spot. Drew Prowl, Johnny DePasquale. This is still an aggressive battle for position. Dana Shepard has slipped back to the 9th spot. Again, you just got to wonder if Shepard's pace early on was because he was not saving, he was not taking care of tires, he was just going at his pace that he can run, which is clearly quick. But now he's losing pace, and he gets the wall off of turn number 2. Brian Rose might have gotten a piece of that as well. The 44 definitely pancakes the right side. Lucky to not break a toe link on that next-gen car. I guess we can't call it the next-gen anymore. We got to call it the Gen 7. Been calling it the next-gen for 3 years. Shepard currently in 8th. Even though he hit the wall, he picked up that spot from Brian Rose, but Brian, I think, had his hands full on the corner exit as well. We'll see if he can regroup and gather it back up. Take the spot away from Shepard. Shepard struggling a little bit here in this end of the run. Oh, we got a car off the track. Is it Chris Goins? It is. Goins pancakes the driver's side first on the inside wall. So far, no caution. There's the caution. Yellow on the Speedway.
Could you hear me fine?
Big time hit for Chris Goins out of turn number 2. This is just a moment ago. A little bit loose on exit, but then drifts up and hits Joe Tucker. Tough to see from this angle. Man, he was driving that thing the whole way. Good job trying to keep it off the wall, but just not enough runoff. So under our second caution of the afternoon. Just about halfway here from Michigan Speedway. We're going to take a break here, but we're going to watch the pit stop cycle here before we do anything. And in fact, we'll probably get back to the green flag. We'll do an HBR TV side-by-side break so that nobody misses a thing. And there you see it. Field rolling out of turn 4 into pit lane. Drew Blaze, Zach Millett, John Tiller, Michael Tucker, Johnny DePasquale. Everybody up and down pit road here. I think everybody that's on the lead lap will hit pit road. Right side tire change for Drew Blaze, Zach Millett, DePasquale. It makes sense to go 4 here. Drew Blaze is doing that. So is Zach Millett. So is DePasquale. But looks like some drivers are gambling here with right sides only. Michael Tucker. I don't know if he went rights only, if he went fuel only, but Tucker 8.2 seconds in the pits. Very fast stop. Gets him out first. He's going to restart this race with the lead. We'll see how quickly he gets chewed up on the restart with the older tires. We don't really know for certain that that's going to make a huge difference, at least at this point. It's definitely going to come into play as the race continues on. Sisler makes a very good point in the stream chat. Says, and just like that, things change again. Now, how far can they make it on fuel? Because this would mean one stop and done for a lot of guys. With that said, Matt, it's a good point to bring up the fuel strategy. Talking to the guys in the garage pre-race, I heard anywhere from 35 to 40 laps, and there it is. Looks like Zach Millett's going to take an opportunity here to top off. You want to talk about Drew Blaze being a master at strategy? Zach Millett is amazing at saving fuel. He's gotten very good at that in the last couple of seasons. Drew Blaze is not too shabby himself. But if Millett's coming down to pit to take some extra fuel, I think that's the telltale. Sisler, you were talking about it. 35 to 40 laps was the anticipated distance on a full load of fuel. It's going to be close. Even with the top off, it's going to be close. You see teammate Zach Millett, Alfie Charon, he's going to do the same. So is Brian Rose. And Chris Goins comes down. A lot of guys topping off another time, knowing that they're right on the cusp of that fuel number. We got Cody Anderson says he's working some strategies for him. Cody, if you got time to work strat, you should be in the race car, buddy. So it looks like we're doubled up here or close to it, trying to get reorganized. But pace car lights are off, so we should get the restart here, lap 39. So it's going to be right on the edge of that fuel window. 37 laps to the checkered flag as we take the green flag here.
Green flag, green flag.
Barney's waving the green. We're back and racing here from Michigan. Oh, some guys getting jumbled up in the back of the pack. Mike Tucker out in front, unchallenged for the time being. Battle for the second spot. Joe Tucker and Drew Burrell. Tucker still fighting with Drew Prowl for the second spot. Tucker goes to the bottom of the racetrack, not quite all the way down, about a lane up off the bottom, in front of John Tiller now. Tiller with a run out of turn 4. He might take a peek to the inside. We're going to go 3 wide here for a moment. Mike Tucker looking in the rearview mirror, loving every second of this as these guys continue to fight for position behind him. Tiller's going to get the 2-for-1 special in turns 1 and 2, take second away as he started from 4th. Tiller with another monster run down the back straightaway, goes to the inside. Mike Tucker up top, This for the race lead in turns 3 and 4. John Tiller to the bottom of the racetrack, slides up in front of Mike Tucker. Off turn number 4, John Tiller now new race leader. Top 3 under a blanket. It's Tiller, Tucker, and Di Pasquale. The 42 of Di Pasquale goes to the bottom of the racetrack, now alongside Michael Tucker. This is kind of what we were talking about when Tucker went fuel only. It got him out front, got him to lead some laps, certainly got him some points that are very valuable. We got trouble in the back of the pack. The 3 in the fence. Darren Jones pounds the outside wall hard, but continues on. We stay green. Darren Jones, trouble on exit. I'm pretty sure he had help as well. Might have broke the toe link because he's significantly off the pace. Change for position, Ken Couch. A little slow here on turn 4. Don't know if he had a different issue. Oh, the 6 of Joe David now gets the wall off of turn 4. Sorry, turn 2. Back out front, John Tiller, a comfortable lead, at least for the time being. Johnny Di Pasquale now second. Jarrett Woodard up into the 3rd spot. Tucker has slipped back to 4th. Drew Prail now 5th. Now, for those of you keeping track at home, as this fuel situation is developing, the top 9 drivers made their pit stops, whether it was for tires or fuel or both, at lap 36. Stayed out on the racetrack. The next time by, looks like just about everyone else behind the top 9 drivers decided that wasn't enough fuel. So they came back down, topped off, buys them an extra lap. Now again, we said that fuel window is between 35 and 40 laps. Matt Crockett early on, I think he said it was 37 for him, which was exactly how many green flag laps we had left as we took the restart most recently. We'll see if it's enough for these guys that are out in that top 9. Furthermore, we'll see if it's enough for the guys that came down to top off. We'll see if this plays out, or more so, if we get another caution. That changes everything, takes that out of the equation. Every lap under green is like 2 under yellow, so do the math on that one. Battling through mid-pack, Alfie Charon and PJ Cox. Charon to the inside. Hornet's Nest. Looks like Darren Jones did eventually come to pit road to effect some repairs on his machine. He is now in the 25th position. 2 laps down. I tell you, I'm looking at this field right now. The top 3 drivers are just checking out, but everybody else is packed up tight as a drum here. I just have to assume, especially after watching this year's Daytona 500, this is like stage 2 at the 500 this year. Everybody's trying to save as much fuel as humanly possible. Look at the lap times of our top 3 drivers. John Tiller, he ran a 39.38 last time. Di Pasquale was right there. Woodard was right there. Same for Scott Beardmore. Everybody else, 3 or 4 or 5 tenths slower than that as they out here trying to draft, trying to save some fuel. .47 laps in, under the green flag here. We're going to step aside, get an HBR TV side-by-side break. Don't worry, you won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back in Michigan Speedway, 23 laps remain. John Tiller still out in front over the 42 of Johnny DePasquale. Zach Millett, first driver with a little bit more fuel, runs in the third position ahead of Drew Blaze and Jarrett Woodard. I think Millett's in a position here where he just needs to be smart about when he makes these moves. Got to take care of the fuel. Cross your fingers, maybe we get a yellow. Jarrett Woodard almost got one there off turn number 2. Woodard having a real strong run here within the top 5. Dana Shepard alongside trying to take it away. Woodard gets the fence here at the Tri-Oval. Drives into the bottom and takes the position with ease, slides up in front of the 79. Off turn number 2, Woodard tucks in behind. Things still unchanged out front. I'm going to kind of just assume here that things aren't going to change a whole lot here in this top 4 for a little bit, unless Millett just gets impatient. Or with his calculations, he knows he's good to go. That could be the case too. It's hard to say. I know pre-race, again, we talked about this during this broadcast, 35 to 40 laps, the fuel window. Most guys were saying 37, maybe 38. Coming to the line here to be 19 laps to go. Your top 5 is Tiller, DePasquale, Millett, Blaze, and Shepard. Got to give an attaboy to Dana Shepard here. He started 10th, led some laps tonight. He's been a factor in the top 5 almost all race long. Matt Crockett having a good run in 10th. He's up 7 spots. Scott Beardmore having a good run as well. He's up 12 positions, running in 12th. We missed Nick Biddy. Nick Biddy's running 7th. He's up 14 positions. Hard Chargers so far. DePasquale now right to the back bumper of John Tiller at the start-finish line. DePasquale took a peek to the inside. Nothing doing there. He'll be right on board with John Tiller. DePasquale's just getting indecisive there, but it looked like he had the run with some help from Zach Millett pushing. Tiller still leads, DePasquale second, Millett third. Blaze all over the back bumper in the 315 in the 4th position. Nick Biddy up to 5th. Real strong run for the 32. Now the situation here for Zach Millett that he's got to be careful about is if either of these top 2 drivers in the closing laps, if he's still behind them, if they start to cough a little bit and run out of fuel, that could be a very dangerous situation for, well, not just the leaders, everybody behind the leaders. If they come together and a wreck ensues. Not quite there yet, but the last couple of laps, if I'm Zach Millett, I got to make sure that I'm ahead of these guys, so if that happens, I don't run into them. Millett now losing a spot to Drew Blaze. Blaze alongside off of turn number 2. Still alongside Zach Millett. No drafting help for the one. He's going to tuck back in. Barely fits there like a glove. Slots in front of the 32 of Biddy. Biddy's not going to cut you a break at this stage of the race. 15 laps to go. Millett slips up the track just a bit. Again, Drew Blaze to the inside. I don't know if there was contact or not. It was awfully close off of turn 4. With Drew Blaze pushing Millett, Millett decides it's time to go. A little bit of contact with DePasquale in the middle of turn 2. 42 chases it up the racetrack. Millett now to second. I think Drew's just trying to push Zach here. Because remember, Drew's on the opposite strategy. He pit during that caution at lap 36, did not come back down to top off, but now he's basically in a Drew Blaze sandwich here. He's got Zach Millett out in front of him and Zach's teammate Brian Rose in behind. But I think Drew is starting to try to push Zach Millett to pick up the pace, try to burn off some fuel. I think Millett caught on to that and decided it was time to go. So Millett runs second, 13 laps to go. John Tiller still out in front. 3 wide behind the leaders. Brian Rose in the middle, Deep Pasquale on the bottom. They get away with it clean. 42 slots up the racetrack in front of Nick Biddy. Three-car pack at the front of the field, followed by 4 more together. See how quickly they can reel these 3 back in. Last lap for Tiller, a half-tenth slower than Zach Millett. Furthermore, Drew Blaze about a half-tenth quicker than Zach Millett. Shows you how tight this field is when we're talking about differentials of half a tenth of a second. Just past 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 laps to go here at Michigan Speedway. It's still Tiller, Millett, and Blaze, your top 3. Big run for Blaze off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Both drivers with a run on Tiller. That draft really coming into play. I think Tiller just might have got too far out in front there. But the backstretch here not quite long enough to take full advantage of those runs. Place like Daytona or Talladega probably could have set up a pass into 3, but not here. Oh, trouble off turn number 2. Woodard really loose. Did he save it? He does. Ah, tough. Good night going badly for Jaron Woodard, but man, save on the race, but the caution is out anyway. Not sure what put us under the yellow, but that throws the fuel mileage out the window. Now it's a straight up race. I don't know if that semi-spin or even the yellow was for Jarrett Woodard or not. It doesn't indicate that that was the case. Maybe he came up into the pack a little bit too soon relative to his speed to everybody else's. It's kind of how iRacing figures this out, when to throw that caution. If there's somebody out on the racetrack, whatever the percentage difference is from one car to the next as far as speed is concerned, that's usually what triggers the yellow. But nevertheless, the yellow does come out. Fuel mileage concerns go away. Still not sure if it's going to be Tiller or Millett. They may have been battling at the time of that incident. Either way, this is going to set us up for a bit of a sprint to the finish. I don't anticipate anybody's going to pit here, but I guess stranger things have happened. A couple drivers came down. Josh Kelleher, Dustin Rogerson, Shane Miller, Chris Klein. Well, we can all take a deep breath. Yeah, Sisler making a good point in the stream chat, but unless you're already at the tail end of the lead lap, I wouldn't gamble pitting at this point. We've got 8 laps to go. Pace car lights, I believe, are still on. Tiller's saving gas right now, though. He's coasting down the back straightaway. Just let the clutch back out. There it is, coasting again. Millett doing the same thing. Remember, Millett pit an extra time. Tiller was lap 36. Millett came lap 37. You know what? I know we're probably going back to green here in a moment, but we've got the ability to pull Zach Millett in the broadcast booth. Let's get a word with the 315 of Zach Millett. Zach, it's Steve with HBR TV. You with us?
Hey, Steve. What's up, man?
Well, I want to see what's going on inside your head quickly before we go back to green. Obviously, we were worried about fuel. You made the extra pit stop to ensure, hopefully, enough gas, but here we are with this late caution. I'm sure you got enough gas at this point, but did you got enough what it takes to get around Tiller and take this race win?
I don't know, man. It's going to be a toss-up. I think we got a little fresher tires than him. I think Drew and I are on the same strategy here. We've been trying to save that run, kind of expecting a caution. I think we're both good on gas. Trying to save just in case we had a green-white checkered here. Knowing there's some cars at the tail end of the line with fresh tires, there might be one. So we'll see, man. We'll hope for the best.
Well, it'll be 6 to go when we get back to the green. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
It was Zach Millett running in the second spot. We are doubled up here as we get ready to go back to the green flag. It'll be 6 laps to go when we cross the stripe. Drew Prale in the chat, even though he's in the race. Drew back in the 22nd spot. Certainly not indicative of the race that he was having early on. Leading some laps, being in contention up front. A lot can happen, though. Differing strategies on tires, like Zach Millett had mentioned. We'll see what happens here in the back of the pack. Pace car down the bottom of the racetrack, heads for pit road.
Green flag.
There it is, green flag in the air. We're back racing from Michigan. 6 laps to go. Millett with a poor restart here has got Drew Blaze to his inside. Honestly, it seems that the second place car on these restarts is at the biggest disadvantage, but Millett finds a way to build that speed off of turn number 2, takes the second position back with a run on the 27 down the back straightaway, takes a look to the inside. Tiller goes to block, but Millett stays up the racetrack. Right there to the back bumper. Using the draft off the 27 of John Tiller. Drew Blaze still tucked in a car length behind Zach Millett. Johnny DePasquale 4th. Chris Goins up into the top 5. 1 car in the wall. It's the 6 of Joe David. By himself. Continues straight. We stay under green. Drew Blaze to the inside for the second spot. Coming to 4 laps to go. Millett way up the racetrack. Drew Blaze trying to go 2 for 1 here. He's alongside John Tiller for the race lead. Coming to 4 laps to go. Millett crosses over. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack. We're 3 wide for the top spot here in Michigan. Millett shows them how it's done. Drives it to the inside. Passes them both, but a crossover from the dirt guy, Drew Blaze. Off turn number 2, the battle for the race lead, and Millett gets into the wall. Scrapes the right rear on the fence just a bit. Back in the gas, Blaze, Tiller, DePasquale, Goins, Millett back to 5th. Drew Blaze now trying to hold off John Tiller for the top spot. Everybody bottled up. Millett really loose in the middle of the corner. Zach Millett's got a problem. Something is wrong with the 315. I don't know if he's got a tire issue. Didn't seem like he hit the wall all that hard. The right rear, I can't imagine, took too much damage. Less than 3 laps to go. The field working the back straightaway. Drew Blaze out in front. John Tiller in. Everybody is scattering off turn number 2. What is going on? It's like a snake. Drew Blaze now putting 2 to 3 car lengths on John Tiller. Chris Goins up into the 3rd spot. He's working the high side as well. Blaze drops it down to the apron of the racetrack, shortening up the distance a bit, trying to break the draft slightly from the 27. 2 laps to go. It's Drew Blaze, John Tiller, Chris Goins, Zach Millett, and Chris Klein. That's your top 5. Blaze just inches off the wall. They enter into turn number 3. Blaze has not led a ton of laps today, but he's looking for the white flag as the race leader. He crosses that line. If we don't get a caution, it will be the last lap of the race. And there it is. Cross start finish. Final lap from Michigan. Drew Blaze with the race lead. A battle for second. John Tiller and Chris Klein. Drew Blaze real loose off turn number 2. Tiller is right there on the back bumper. A little bit of contact. No, that's Chris Klein on the back bumper, and Drew Blaze chasing him down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time for the lead and the race win here at Michigan. Klein slips up the racetrack. Will he have the run off of turn number 4? He's alongside Drew Blaze. Contact! Chris Klein's in the fence. Everybody's wrecking out of turn 4, but Drew Blaze is going to take the checkered flag. Drew Blaze takes the win at Michigan, and a very aggressive run from Chris Klein ends in disaster. Zach Millett finishes second, Chris Goins third, Alfie Sharon fourth, and Brian Rose fifth. Drew Blaze taking the checkered flag here tonight. Wow. What a race, what a finish. Very happy Drew Blaze here at the start-finish line. With that, we'll step aside, get a break out of the way, and be back with our top 3 finishers after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
back at Michigan Speedway. Esports Gaming Network, Michigan 75 in the books. We're going to go back to the final lap here. We'll watch this once again. And we'll watch it as we follow the 27 of John Tiller. Somebody wanted to troll the broadcast because we weren't showing the replay. I usually don't on the last lap. But since somebody nicely asked, let's show it. This is the final lap of the race. And again, we're watching the 27, but also watch the one of Drew Blaze. Big push by Chris Klein into turn 3. Klein gets to the outside and then loses it. Gets into the right rear of Blaze, gets himself into the fence, and just nowhere for John Tiller to go at that point. Drives right into the door of Chris Klein. Millett goes high. Chris Goins goes high. Might have gotten a very small piece of it. Alfie Sharon sneaks around as well. Ryan Rose is going to go up the middle here. And that's that. With that said, race is in the books. Let's get a word with our race winner here. All right, Drew Blaze and Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Drew, congratulations, man. An awesome race, an awesome win. Walk us through that final lap. You had a very fast and aggressive Chris Klein all over your back bumper, giving you the business into turn 3. Ended up wrecking himself and some others on that final lap. But tell us about it. Walk us through it on your perspective. How did you hold him off, and how did you keep that car straight to the finish?
Yeah, it was tough. I saw him come and climb up the leaderboard. I knew he had a set of tires there at the end, so I just blocked him as much as I could, and man, going into 3 there, he gave me a heck of a bump, and I thought I was gonna wreck, but I recovered it, and I left him a lane out there. I think he got loose, but I would need to go back and check the replay. I just want to make sure for sure I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, no, he did a good job getting into you there. He didn't wreck you per se, obviously, but man, it was a pretty hard shot into turn 3. You washed up the track a bit, but he really, whether he intended to or not, washed up the track as well. And from our perspective, at least as we watched the replay, he did get loose, got into your right rear. I'm shocked you didn't come around right then and there, but great job hanging on to it.
Yeah, that was a tough race. It's been a tough couple of weeks for me, dealing with illnesses and other things and the like, but we're just wanting to get back to myself here and be aggressive, and I feel like I did everything that I could to get the win here, and we kind of showed out, and it was a very difficult decision to take tires when I did, considering we only have one set of tires over the wall, but yeah, no, it's just great to get back to victory lane here and not be looking at the back of Millett.
You still sound like you might actually be fighting off something. Are you not quite 100% yet?
Not quite 100% yet. I've been sick 3 times since the beginning of the year here, so it's been a downward spiral for me.
Well, hopefully,
but,
hopefully getting it out of the way here for the rest of the year. You don't have to worry about it, but we look forward next week to Pocono Raceway. I know Zach Millett loves that place. I forget how you feel about it, but it's always a fun one to watch. It's just it's a big triangle. It kind of runs like a road course, kind of runs like an oval, kind of runs like a short track. I mean, what's your take on Pocono next week and your chances to go 2 in a row?
Oh, I love Pocono. My home track, I live about 40 minutes from it. Been there tons of times. Just a great place, and it's very different from every other NASCAR track on the schedule. And there's nothing like that tunnel turn on the back stretch. And it's just nothing to play like it. And I love it.
Well, Drew, congratulations on the win here tonight. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Just got to thank Lonestar Racing. No Limit Detailing, AMCO, Ryko Motorsports, Ken's Ken's Potable Water Hauling, and LSR Gaming X, and just all my teammates and everybody that helps out with the league here and keeps me going while I'm fighting through sicknesses and all that. And just thank you for putting on the broadcast and everybody put on a heck of a race. I felt like that was a real good one, especially a good one to watch.
Yeah, from my perspective, race of the year for certain with the Lonestar Racing League. That was a blast to call, fun one to watch for sure. But again, nice job winning this one here. Wish you the best of luck next week, Drew.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Drew Blaze, your race winner here from Michigan Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 315 of Zach Millett. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast, how Zach Millett's quick. He can drive just about anything, but he's beatable. It proved it today. Had a little bit of luck there at the finish to finish in that second position, but let's talk to Zach Millett. Zach, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got us?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, man. It's not a win, a second place. I know it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow sometimes, but walk us through that final lap, really the closing laps, the restart especially. You kind of got bit there on the restart, but quickly out of turn 2, you put some ground on Drew Blaze, but it didn't last. You got the right rear into the fence. Did that damage the race car? Did that really what caused your issues? Because you weren't quite the same after that.
Yeah, I got the tires so hot when he washed up in front of me there. I was actually on the brakes a lot to try to keep it out of the fence. I think we scuffed it a little bit, but I don't think the damage hurt us if there was even any. I think the tires just getting hot. It takes such a long time for them to cool back down, especially when you're, the last 3 laps of the race, you're not going to be letting off. And I don't know, Michigan race is kind of like a super speedway. It's very draft dependent. If you don't have anybody behind you pushing you, you're not going to, make the pass or make any ground. But yeah, it was it was crazy after that last restart. I knew there was a couple cars back there with fresh tires, and I didn't know who. So when I saw Klein, coming up through the field, Mach 10, figured it was him. But once he went by, I was kind of just hoping that, he'd go for it pretty hard on Drew, and maybe they'd both wreck and, maybe sneak by with Tiller, or maybe just me and Gonesy. But yeah, we got lucky there, man. That was a pretty chaotic finish, and feel pretty lucky to have a P2.
So ultimately, we saw that was Chris Klein got into trouble there off of turn 4, ended up in the fence in the tri-oval. I think you and Gones both kind of scattered in different directions trying to avoid it. Walk us through that incident and how you managed to sneak through.
Man, I don't know. I expected Chris to go back up to the high side and kind of cross over Drew in the last turn. And after watching the replay just for a couple seconds here, it was good hard racing. I mean, Chris got back to the gas. Just like anybody would, going for the win. Just got a little loose. It sucks. I hate it for him. Everybody wants to see Klein get a win here, But yeah, once he hit the fence, I mean, I just kind of closed my eyes and started turning left and right sporadically, and it worked out. And HBR 2, 3, 4, and 5 tonight. Crazy.
I got a lot of pictures to take tonight.
Oh yeah, you do. You'll be up all night, man.
Well, Zach, congratulations, man. A strong run to the finish. A good recovery to finish in that second spot. A little bit of crash avoidance practice, I guess you could call it as well. Looking forward to Pocono Raceway next week. I know it's a fan favorite. It's a Drew Blaze favorite. Is it a Zach Millett favorite?
I think so. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. It'll be chaotic as normal.
All right, Zach. Well, again, a strong run. Congratulations, man. Who do you want to shout out to?
Steve, I got to thank you and HBR TV, HBRTV1.com, Crackbar Media, HBRShops.com, Castle Products, Brandon Minnick Trailers. Big thanks to them for sponsoring us this season. LSR, all the admins, T Sykes, specifically in my chat, yelling boner every second. All my great teammates at HBR, Martin Sports, and Amco Transmissions. And a shout out to HBR guys, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. Shoot me a follow over on YouTube and Twitch at That Is For Guy.
All right, Zach. Good luck next week, man.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your runner-up here at Michigan. Now we'll talk to our 3rd place finisher, the 41 of Chris Gones. Remember early on, Gones was very sideways off of turn number 2, trying to save the race car, try to not go head on into the inside wall. That likely would have been the end of his race, but he straightened the car up, still pancaked the driver's side of the race car, fixed it, got back out there, and comes home to finish in the 3rd spot. Chris, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you, Steve. What's going on?
An awesome race that has come to its end with some chaos at the finish. Walk us through it from your perspective. Short of your crash early on in the race, to which you ended up fixing the race car, didn't see a whole lot out of you that really brought our attention to you. You kind of kept your nose clean, didn't bother anybody else, worked your way through the field, and eventually you finished there in 3rd place, albeit with some wrecks at the finish. Walk us through that final lap. How did you work your way through that traffic and through that mess to finish in the 3rd spot?
Well, short answer would be try not to wreck my teammates and go where the cars weren't. But long end of it, I had kind of settled in fifth. I was happy with the top 5 at that point. I knew Zach had just gotten around me coming off of 4. And so I was like, I'm just going to ride here, not mess anything up, bring home a solid points day and kind of keep in it. Cause we're having a good points year so far. So, but I knew Chris had fresher tires, so I wasn't going to fight him too hard because obviously that wasn't going to do me any good in the long run. And then, obviously he and Drew racing for the win there. I think they both did whatever any racer would do on the last lap. You're going for the win. You throw a block if you can. Chris gave him a shot getting into 3, and then they just kind of coming off of 4. It just kind of all fell apart. And luckily, I just, like I said, just put my nose where there weren't cars, and luckily we squeaked through it.
Well, luck got you home and a little bit of thinking behind the wheel. Of course, some luck to have the incident that you had early on in the race instead of at the latter stages. You were able to get the car fixed. A couple of cautions landed the right way, and you stay on the lead lap. You get back out there and an awesome run to the finish. Next week, though, we go to the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway. It's the oval that runs like a road course, is I guess the way I like to describe it. You've got a little bit of road course background. How do you feel about your chances next week at Pocono, and does that road racing really apply to the very, very unique oval triangle, whatever you want to call it, at Pocono Raceway?
Well, Pocono is by far my favorite track. So I like my chances of having a good run there next week. I'm going to put in some practice. They've updated these cars a little bit, so I hadn't driven it there since any of the updates. But have pretty good track record there. Knock on wood. Hopefully we can continue that. But definitely road racing will help out at that track. With road racing, one of the mantras there is, slow in, fast off on the straightaways because you don't want to give up too much speed on the straightaways. Well, that's one thing Pocono's got is 3 pretty decent length straightaways. So I think the front stretch at Pocono is the longest straightaway on the circuit. So just try and keep our nose clean there and mind our corners to give us the run off so we don't lose too many spots down the straight.
I think it's the longest straightaway in North America, to be honest, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, very well may be. Right. I hope to be across that line first next week on that straightaway.
Certainly looking forward to it. Chris, congratulations on a great run here, finishing 3rd at Michigan. Who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here?
Popple, all my teammates over at HBR, Zach, Brian, Alfie, Jesse, all had, I think we all finished in the top 10 tonight. So that's a good run for us as a team. You over here at HBR TV, always enjoy going back to watch these things. These are always fun. Castle Products, Eric Dotson Agency, Track Bar Media. I know I'm missing some stuff, but just everybody that's associated with us at HBR and just trying to put Martin Sports, sorry, can't forget them, pretty new on the car, but just everybody that's associated with us trying to make these fun and the guys over at LSR as well. So look forward to hopefully talking to you again next week.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for talking to us this week. We wish you the best of luck next week at Pocono, man.
I appreciate it, Steve. Have a good one.
Chris Goins, your 3rd place finisher here at Michigan Speedway. What a race we just witnessed. This was a fun one. I know there's some hurt feelings out there, and I can't say that I blame anybody for it, but it is what it is. That's racing sometimes. Doesn't always go your way. So let's take a look at the official results. Of course, we talked to Drew Blay, Zach Millett, Chris Goins. Those were your top 3 finishers. Alfie Charon was 4th. 5th went to Brian Rose. Scott Beardmore was 6th. John A. DePasquale finishes 7th. Drew Prale, a strong run early, finishes in the top 10 and 8th. Jesse Redding a top 10 in 9th. Nathan Lyon finishes 10th. Dana Shepard strong very early on, led a lot of laps in the top 5 most of the afternoon, finishes 11th. John Tiller, a heartbreaker for the 27. Really tough to see. Tiller was en route to possibly a race win, if not at least a top 2, maybe even just a top 3. But the crash at the end with Chris Klein took him out. He ended up finishing in the 12th position. PJ Cox was 13th. Nick Biddy was 14th. Jarrett Woodard, 15th. Josh Kelleher came home in the 16th spot. Ken Couch was 17th. Matt Crockett finished 18th. 19th place finisher was Dustin Rogerson. 20th went to Shane Miller. Chris Klein went from Challenging for the race lead in the final corners to finishing 21st. Joe David was 22nd, Mike Tucker 23rd, Joe Tucker 24th. 25th went to Darren Jones and Sean Roberts and Mike Fahey rounding out the field 26th and 27th. Sean Roberts is starting park tonight with an injury, and Mike Fahey did not take the green flag here tonight. That's your finishing order for the Esports Gaming Network Michigan 75 AMCO Transmissions Cup Series. Thank you guys all for tuning in. It was a great race. Thank you for the stream chat. Real busy tonight. I love when you guys are in there chatting it up. Of course, some tempers flaring at the end, which, again, I understand. It's no big deal. But again, try to keep it PG for the kids. It's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Give the stream a like if you haven't already done so, and check out the website as well, hbrtv1.com. Click the live tab on the day of the race. I don't even recall if I even put it up there this week. This might be one of my screw-ups. My first of the year so far. We're halfway, three-quarters, almost all the way. Last day of the year. It's Leap Day. I guess we're into March technically, but either way, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, congratulating Drew Blaze on the race win here tonight. We'll see you at the next one, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.